now gives me great pleasure to introduce the commencement speaker. And when we choose a speaker at graduation, it's a really demanding ask that we make. We have a very high bar because we want someone who has great accomplishment so that you can see what's possible as you envision your future. We want someone who has great wisdom that's come along that path that they can share with you on this day and help you with your path. We want someone who shares the values that we hold to be so important, such as authentic engagement. And if we have someone who has a Duke connection, that's a bonus. So Katy Hollister checks every box. She served on both the Deloitte US and global boards, so she is clearly one of the most senior, most respected people within Deloitte. But the thing that I love about Katy the most is how she's achieved this success. Because the way she has risen to such heights professionally is by making sure that she never loses focus on what really matters. And what she believes deeply is that the way she succeeds is through the success of others. That the way she's successful is if she builds great teams. And she has constantly built great teams. She has constantly mentored and developed the people around her, and those people have gone on to do great things as well. And so it's with great pleasure then that I ask Katy to step forward.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dean Boulding and faculty for inviting me to be part of this day. And welcome, parents, siblings, friends. I know you're here, or maybe you're watching on the video, because there's somebody sitting in the front rows here that you care a lot about and are very proud of. And graduates, congratulations. I hope you just completed what was a 10-month experience that you'll never forget. As Dean Boulding mentioned, I've had the pleasure of working at Deloitte for over 30 years, and every time I say that, it kind of cracks me up because I distinctly remember being 10 and thinking that anybody age 30 was about dead. After graduating from Duke, I went to law school, and I started at Deloitte pretty much as a fluke. The traditional path back then from law school and still now was to work at a law firm. I didn't aspire actually to work at an accounting firm or consulting firm. I got the job and I intended to be there 12 months. It wasn't the most prestigious thing at that time, although now it is, to go from accounting, to go from a law degree into accounting. And I remember when I called my dad and told him that I got a job, there was a long pause on the phone. Like a really long pause. And this was always my dad's signal for letting me know that he was about to come out with some very profound statement. And what he said was, "Katy, you don't even do your own tax return." I stayed at Deloitte all this time, 31 years, for two things. Number one, I found a seemingly infinite number of opportunities to grow both personally and professionally. And number two, I found an equally infinite network of people to lead me to those opportunities. I'm a partner in our tax business, like Bill said, and for those of you who don't know the sheer excitement of a tax business, I had many amazing career opportunities. I served different clients in all different industries all over the world. I've started a new service line. I tore one down, not the same one, by the way. I had opportunities to lead initiatives around talent and innovation and market, and the pleasure of serving our partners on our US and global boards. So contrary to popular opinion today, that all the good jobs are at a startup, I know at least one great place that you can start up and stay for a really long time. I suppose the takeaway here is I didn't start. All great careers don't start with a great plan. I actually didn't have one. I got a job it wasn't really what I was looking for, honestly, but I went there. We don't have any products at Deloitte, just people. We have about 70,000 in the US and about 225 all around the world. So this became a career for me and a place actually to observe people, not only at Deloitte, but at our clients, leading in all kinds of ways, leading change, leading crisis, leading conflict, leading in successful times, and leading change. At Fuqua, you guys studied a lot about leadership, and there's no way I have something smarter to say than all of these people behind me about leadership who study it and talk with class after class after class about it. But I do have an observation to share after 31 years of watching leaders lead. And my observation is about a special breed of leaders. My observation starts with a real simple word. It's one that we learn when we're about 3. And from the moment we learn this word, it's our tool for learning about the rest of the world and people. I relearned the beauty of this word from my boys, Ryan and Luke. Mommy, why are the clouds soft? Why has the dog got a tail? Why is there fur on top of my eyes? By the way, I never figured out any of the answers to these great questions. But my observation starts with why. Why is it that leaders lead? And the answer is that there are a lot of motivations for leading, frankly. There's ego, and there's accomplishment, and there's recognition, and there's need to be needed, and many, many more. And I'm not here to judge motivations for leadership, but rather the motivation I want to talk about for just a few minutes is responsibility. My observation is that the really remarkable leaders are the ones who are truly motivated to lead by a sense of responsibility that transcends themselves in 3 ways. So 1, responsibility for the truth. You all know that saying that perception is reality. And what this means is that people don't really see the world as it really is around them, but rather as they believe it to be. I think outstanding leaders have a unique ability to actually see beyond what they believe in order to get to the real truth. A Deloitte friend of mine named Vanessa once told me a story about her time in Kenya working at the Peace Corps, and she was there to help individuals develop their skills and a business case for funding to start a new small business. And she recalled being particularly frustrated and kind of annoyed with this one woman who was constantly late to her sessions and wasn't really very dedicated at all. So one day, Vanessa decided to visit this woman. And there she learned that this woman was actually perhaps the most dedicated of all her students. In fact, this woman turned out to be a young widow. She was 20-something. She had 4 children, and daily she was walking 7 miles to Vanessa's class and back. So you see, perception is often not reality. And the most remarkable leaders, I think, feel responsible for the truth. And this enables them to break the barriers of their own beliefs to actually get to it. The second thing is responsibility for outcomes. I think great leaders defy all of our human temptation to rely on our past successes and experiences. But because really great leaders are responsible for outcomes, they anticipate failure and they prepare to avoid it. Some of the most amazing examples of this, I think, that I've read in the last, say, 14 months or so are stories about surgeries on the tiniest of human hearts. In these couple cases that have been reported recently, very, very experienced heart surgeons partnered with engineers, and using data from thousands of cross-section scans, they 3D printed an exact replica of these tiny malfunctioning hearts. The 3D replica in both cases uncovered new facts and assumption errors. And this enabled doctors to rethink strategies and develop workarounds before the critical moment of surgery on the baby, changing the outcome from what could have been failure due to unknown consequences, unknown complications to life for a boy and a girl. So these remarkable leaders feel so responsible for the outcomes. They act in a way that enables them to avoid the trap of being misled by their past experiences and successes. The third thing is responsibility for others. Remarkable leaders exhibit a tremendous sense of responsibility for others that transcend themselves. This is not really just about getting people to follow. These leaders are absolutely committed to developing or enabling somebody else's future. In the context of a team, this might be about developing the next better you. Kind of an unintuitive concept. The ultimate heroic expression of this one, I think, is the story that many of you maybe know about the man with the red bandana. Wells Crowther was an equities trader who almost always carried this red bandana with him. It was a gift from his dad when he was a little boy. On the morning of 9/11, Wells's family got 3 messages that he was okay, but they never heard from him again. And about 8 months later, they were reading in the New York Times witnesses' accounts of that day. And several of the witnesses wrote about life-saving help from a man with a red bandana. Wells was subsequently credited after the discovery of these accounts for saving about 18 people that day. So whether true heroes or not, remarkable leaders feel responsible for and personally invest in others. So back to my question, why do remarkable leaders lead? They lead because of a deep sense of responsibility to someone or something beyond themselves. And this fact is why they are the remarkable leaders. So is there a lesson here for all of us? Yep, I think so. I think the lesson is not to define ourselves by our title, but rather by the impact we can have on something or someone. And by investing in things beyond ourselves, we can grow in our impact as a leader. We can find truth that's not limited by our perceptions. We can actually reach outcomes that are not limited by our past successes, and we can impact futures beyond our own. So that's kind of enough heavy stuff from me. As I prepared for this talk, I actually imagined myself sitting in your seat. I wish I was 22, Ryan. And I realized that if I was sitting there, I'd actually like to hear from somebody who was a whole lot younger than 56. So I did the classic consulting thing, and I put a bunch of young people on the job. I went to about 20 recent alumni from this program, this MMS program, who've graduated in the last 2 years, and I asked them, hey, what advice do you have for these graduates now that you're 1, 2, or 3 years out? And true to Fuqua form, they came up with some great stuff. So first I want to tell you that not one of them remembered who their graduation speaker was, nor where the person worked. Not one word about what the person said. So that made writing the first 10 minutes of this talk real easy for me. What they did remember about this day in great detail was about all of you who are here, family and friends. For most people, they said it was the first day that they ever had the chance to have their family and friends here. And so they totally relished in the moment, exploring around campus and enjoying the moment. One person recalled meeting a classmate's family and realized that some little quirky thing about that classmate was easily traceable to his dad. The person said to me, Katy, it was like putting the final piece into a year-long puzzle. So these guys offered these great 10 things that I selected from all the advice I got from them for you. Number 1, the anxiousness about work wasn't warranted. We arrived from Fuqua better prepared than anybody else, both to do the work and to work on a team. Number 2, best thing we learned at Fuqua was about collaboration and teaming. The team building events, even the cheesy ones, were valuable moments to learn about other people, and we actually carry some of these same lessons into the job today. Number 3, you aren't perfect, and they aren't either, but joining forces with your teammates will get you closer to it. Number 4, you're not going to get it right, and knowing how to rebalance, correct, redo is the key. Number 5, don't get lost in the small stuff. There'll be a bunch of stuff you can't control, and while it'll seem really big for that day, week, or month, it just won't matter in the scheme of a long career. Resist the tendency to want to do things on your own to prove yourself in your new job. In the end, it's the team that gets the really big stuff done. Number 7, you're going to be asked to do some really small things. Don't resent these. The small parts all fit into a way bigger, more important picture, and big things don't get done without small things getting done first. Number 8, after graduation, nothing arrives in a well-laid-out curriculum. Get ready to figure it out and proactively seek it out. Number 9, this was a really good one. Make the most of your summer. Do what fulfills you. Spend time with family and friends. Once you start a job, you will really, really, really want that free time back. And the last one is probably my favorite, so I saved it for the end, and that is give back, mentor, and look out for all those future Duke grads. I'd really like to end my talk by wishing you good luck, but there's lots of evidence to suggest that there isn't really any such thing. Rather, the lucky people are just those who are predisposed to sense, seize, and shape events before they're apparent to the rest of us. You may know this story about a guy named Richard Wiseman. Wiseman surveyed a bunch of people to find out who considered themselves lucky and unlucky, and then he performed a really interesting test. He gave both groups, the lucky and the unlucky groups, a newspaper, and he asked them to tell him how many photographs were inside. On average, the unlucky people took 2 minutes, but the lucky ones determined the number of pictures in about 2 seconds. How could this be? The lucky ones found a message on the second page that read, "Stop counting. There's 43 photographs in this newspaper." Why didn't the unlucky group see that? Because they were so intent on their mission to count the photographs that they missed the message. So Wiseman's conclusion was that unlucky people miss chance opportunities because they're too focused on looking for something else. They go to parties intent to find the perfect partner, and they miss great opportunities to make wonderful friends. They look through the newspaper determined to find a job, and they miss other great opportunities. Lucky people are actually more relaxed and open, and therefore they see what's there rather than just what they were looking for. So my final advice to you is relax, be open, congratulations, and good luck, because I know you're extremely well prepared to engage in and be responsible for the world around you. Thank you.